When I started my career in documentary filmmaking, I admired those thriving in the industry. I was right where you are, dreaming big and scared of stumbling. Years later, I went from distributing my very first documentary to filming in over 35 countries. And now, this podcast is where we share skills, stories, and lessons with filmmakers, including those who won Oscars and Emmys, to help each other grow and create impactful documentaries. If short films don't bring any money, how do you make a living as a filmmaker? That's the questions that I asked the guys from A2C Entertainment, and you can find the answer on howwefilm.com. You just need to sign up in the exclusive content. It's free. You don't need to pay anything. In the last episode with them, we talked a little bit the business side of things, and I tried to understand really how they make a living in LA as a filmmaker, and what are the suggestions that they have for people like you that maybe you're not in LA, but maybe you're trying to make a living. And I hope that all these informations were helpful if you watched the episode. If not, I suggest you go and watch it. This episode specifically, though, we're going to try to cover more about the American film market, which is a place that I've never been. I always found other ways to distribute documentaries, but it seems like they have been hanging around the American film market for a few years, and they developed their own system on how they navigate that. And well, I hope you're going to enjoy this episode because they're going to uncover all of that and they're going to share their experience. And I hope this is going to help you. Also, if you think you have questions regarding documentary production, pre-production, distribution, whatever, you can shoot me a message. I'll try to record a video with the answer if I know. If not, I guess I'm going to try to figure that out with some professionals that I know. And I'm going to try to give you the answer. I hope you enjoyed this episode, really, and I look forward to hear from you, like what has been your experience if this episode is helpful in any way. Hope you enjoy. You guys know way more than I do about AFM, American Film Market. And can you guys tell me first, what is it? And how does it work? Like, if somebody's listening right now, like, or if I have a documentary ready, or I'm, when should I go there? If I am a filmmaker, when my project is finished, when I'm starting a project, like, I would say I have so many questions, as you can see. Let's start with first. So what is it and how does it work?
Okay. So it's a 5-day film market that takes place in November. It's now being hosted in Las Vegas. It just occurred. It's the 5th through 10th in November. It's the largest American film market. A film market means that a bunch of people come together like a convention and they negotiate the sales and distribution of feature films, documentaries, and some episodic TV series, mostly feature films, in America, abroad, everywhere, internationally. It's a giant international sales market. There's another one at Cannes. There's one at Toronto.
Yeah.
And I think this is the second largest one. Cannes is the largest one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Cannes is the largest one.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Cannes is separated. Like, the Cannes film market is separate from the film festival.
It's separate. Yeah.
So when should you go to AFM? It's a mixed bag because you can go to AFM without a finished film. You definitely can. You can go to AFM with a script. Writers attend AFM.
That's what it originally was for. Yeah.
Really?
Was writers. Yeah. That's how they originally had it set up.
Oh, I didn't know.
Writers could come in and talk to studios and say, I've got this idea.
Well, that's definitely not what it is.
It's definitely not what it is anymore.
I would say
dumb idea, but you go to the film market. What does it look like? You actually have stands of companies and studios, like you can actually just go and approach. It works like that?
Not really anymore. So the way it works now is they usually host it in a giant hotel. And these production companies, it'll either be production companies, distribution companies, some studios. They'll have booths, but their booth is usually set up in a suite in the hotel. So you'll walk down these hallways of the hotel, and it's like a normal hotel hallway with rooms, and you'll see these signs that say, like, the names of the companies that you're looking at.
Ah, okay.
And they usually have representatives in each suite that works for the company.
Well, the thing is, so it's like two different things that happen because companies will be in suites in the hotel rooms. And you can't just walk up to these. Like 90% of the time, you have to have an appointment to go to the suites. And the only way that you could have made hotel room appointments is ahead of time. You would have contacted these people ahead of time and then made meetings with them. And you can reach out to them on the app or on their emails. And you would make appointments with these people if you're A, trying to sell your film and you're pitching it to them for distribution. B, trying to get funding from them, which may be best of luck. The first question they're going to ask you is who's attached or how much funding is involved, or I mean, those are the two questions they're going to ask you. Which, if you're an independent filmmaker,
yeah,
tough.
It's gonna be a little bit
Tough.
Yeah, a little bit harder. But it's mainly fiction. The documentary thing is not.
There are documentaries.
They're definitely documentaries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there are
there are entire companies there that only do documentaries.
Yeah, there are only doc stuff.
Mhm.
But also,
But it's what I'm saying is like it is worth it to like for somebody if he's trying to to find distributor, for example, or funding.
Yes,
It's still
definitely.
Yeah, no,
And you can
potentially.
screen your film there too and invite people to come watch the screening of your film. Like you can also do that. And then the other side of this is like so AFM's 5 days, like the last 2 days after a lot of the deals have taken place and things have already sold, you could then swing by people's rooms and be like, hey, didn't have time to make an appointment, or like blah, blah, blah. Just wanted to see if you had 5 minutes, and then pitch your thing. Like there's a lot of wiggle room in this event. It's not, it becomes less and less structured as the thing goes on. And a lot of the deals that are made at AFM take place at the after parties and like during the lunches and at the hotel bar. Like it's very much, it's like a film festival, but it's very business oriented film festival, and people aren't really watching any films. They're just making deals. And also keep in mind that like most of the deals, a lot of the deals that are made at AFM have been structured and organized beforehand. They're just finalized at AFM. Yeah. Like a lot of people who are attending from large studios at AFM, like Lionsgate and Neon and A24, they show up, they send a rep from these companies or several reps from these companies, and they go to after parties and they just like secure and they all hang out. And then maybe the last couple days they'll be like, well, I wonder who's here from AGC or AKA, and like I'll talk to these people from 3A or whatever, and then see what's on their slate that they need to fill for the last $200 million they have for Q3 of next year. And then they'll chat, and then maybe 2 little filmmakers from A2C show up. We emailed them 3 weeks ago and they're like, oh yeah, they have a psychological thriller that they want to pitch us. We shoot them our deck really quick. We talk to them for 5 minutes and they go, that sounds kind of cool. Let's talk about it when we're back in LA. Then we send them the script. Then maybe they read it. Then maybe we talk for 6 months. Then maybe something happens. It's not like, if you're an independent filmmaker, a deal's not really happening at AFM, but maybe the start of a relationship is happening at AFM. And that's really beneficial. Because like it's the first time you're going to be in a room with somebody who you would never otherwise meet. Yeah. Like you're never going to meet an exec at Neon if you're an independent filmmaker, but you are going to meet them at AFM, and you might start to develop a relationship with them because at that capacity, they're interested in meeting with you. And there might be something that they're interested that you have. And then maybe 8 months later, you get lunch with them. And then maybe the next year you see them at AFM again. And then maybe a year and a half later, they've read your script. I mean, like, you get it.
Yeah. And go ahead.
Go ahead, Connor. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I think it's not that AFM gets a bad rap. I think people get a little down on the idea of like making a sale or selling their film when at these markets, and I get it. Like, I think the markets can get a little too exclusive, or they feel a little too exclusive. But they have reps from these companies at these markets that genuinely want to find great films from independent filmmakers. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, they're few and far between. You know, I think it's really tough to make a good marketable film that a company like Neon or A24 or Lionsgate or Sony can pick up. If you have no experience, no background, no previous films that have come out. But they'll absolutely entertain that conversation.
Well, here's the other thing. Like, why would the people at Neon not know about your film if it's this incredible independent? Like, why would you just be showing up? Because, like, if I'm an incredible independent filmmaker, my reps would have already showed my pre-screen to Neon.
Yeah.
They would have.
Yeah.
And, like, they will. Like, when we have our feature finished in a year and a half, my manager will send a pre-screen to Neon to get distribution. And then maybe I'll show up, like we'll show up at AFM to party with the people at Neon when they distribute it. But that's the difference that I think we've learned about markets like that. Because when we go to AFM, it's not that it's disappointing that you're not closing a deal. It's that the deals are already done. And like you're then confirming those deals. And like there are deals to be made, but it's more about there are long-term relationships to be built rather than deals to be made. And like there's got to be patience coming into a market like that for an independent filmmaker who has no previous relationships and no previous things established. And I think the patience in approaching a market like that is the most important thing that you can bring besides your business cards.
Absolutely. I think a lot of times, especially independent filmmakers, especially young independent filmmakers like myself when I was in my 20s, early 20s, I was convinced that, every opportunity was going to be, this is going to be the thing. This is going to be the breakout thing for me, and ultimately it usually is not ever that thing. But it can become, something like AFM. I would have thought 5 years ago, oh, this is it. This is going to make my career. And then I would have been incredibly disappointed. And I thought, why am I even doing this? But it's like, you have to reset your expectations for what you're trying to accomplish, right? It's like,
and I like from what you're saying, also understand how it works. What's the function in the big scheme of things and in the long term, and not just for the event itself.
Right.
I think generally in the beginning you think, well, 5 days, then somebody's gonna really love the film, and we're gonna have a proposal, and we're gonna sign the next week. I love what you're saying about how potentially a relationship can actually start there, or even better, you start before. And that I didn't know that when I did it the first time. And I remember, I think for the first time, even though it was random, because I was touring with the film, and while I was touring, I was meeting people that they were like, hey, I know this guy, and I think he knows somebody that might be interested in the film. You should at least try. That was happening a lot. And I realized that I got in touch with many people, and then I came back to Europe and I completely forgot about them. Like now, if I would reach out to them, I don't even know they will remember me after 5 years, 6 years. Like I never, and then as you were talking, I realized, yes, that's really true, because the idea is that the beginning of a relationship, it doesn't mean that if that person is not interested in your movie, you shouldn't keep the relationship going. If your long-term goal is to actually keep making movies, and like that's the beginning of something that will bring fruit, and not necessarily next week, but maybe in 5 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think having an ounce of kind of genuineness about it too, right? It's like, are you more interested in getting money to make your film, or are you more interested in meeting people and building relationships with people who are kind of the movers and shakers of the industry, right? People who get movies made, right? It's like, what's more important, a single $1 million check, or 5 relationships with 5 different people who work at the executive level, right?
Yes.
And it's like, don't you want to be involved with the film community, right? Like, isn't that the goal? Like, isn't that what we want, right?
No, I love that. I think even myself, honestly, sometimes you get so attached to the money aspect of it, and you lose a bigger perspective over why we do what we do as a filmmaker. But I have a question for both of you now. Now, next summer, we decided with a director, we're gonna go and fund ourselves to produce a documentary. We're going to go in the south of Italy. We're going to go film, let's say, fishermen. I'm not going to say more than that. Like, we're going to go film some fishermen, right? So we think there's something there. We believe in it. And let's say that maybe by the time that the summer is over, the fishing season is also over, we're going to have a lot of footage, and we're going to put it together. In October, we have the editing ready, or something really rough. And AFM is back. Another 5 days, right? And we say, okay, well, let's give it a shot. We really like this, and we think it's gonna do well. How what should I do before going to AFM? And yeah, I guess, what should I do? How should I prepare? What are the things I should bring with me? How should I approach? You mentioned about an app. Like, would that be the best way to approach these people? Like, I want to know everything that you know. Whatever you know.
I guess we could talk about what we did.
Yeah, I think the first thing you should do is you should get together like the 10 documentaries that it's similar to. Like, put together all the docs that it's similar to. And then find out all the companies that were involved in producing, distributing, and getting that doc out there.
At every level, production, distribution, financing.
Streaming, where is that doc right now? How are people seeing it? How is it performing? In what regions is it performing? Is it performing well? Get all that information together, have it on your slides, and like have all those stats available. Then figure out if any of those companies are attending AFM. If they're not, find their subsidiaries. Are they attending AFM? And then start making those...
Sorry, Abbie. I need to stop. What is a subsidiary?
What are the similar companies? So like, say Paramount is the company that did that doc. Okay, Paramount's not attending AFM, which like they're probably not. They're too big of a company. It's usually smaller-ish companies that attend AFM. So like Paramount's not attending. So we're like, okay, what's a similar streamer that's doing docs like Paramount that's attending AFM? So say we say it's like Tubi is going. Not that they're similar to Paramount, but say Tubi has a doc section that's similar to the one that you're doing. Okay, who's the Tubi doc representative who's in charge of acquisitions at AFM this year? Their name is Mark Johnson. Okay, Mark Johnson. I can't find Mark Johnson's information. What do? I ask the 20 people I know who have been to AFM in the past 5 years if they know Mark Johnson. Okay, nobody knows Mark Johnson. Darn it. Great. I'm going to reach out to the 10 people I know at Tubi or Tubi adjacent to see if they know Mark Johnson. Nobody knows Mark Johnson. Darn it. Back to square one. Then we go to the AFM app. We go on Tubi, see if we can find anybody in the Tubi circle who knows Mark Johnson. Okay, we found Mark Johnson. We reach out to Tubi. We send them our little blurb. You say, hi, I'm reaching out. I have this. I'm going to be going like, hey.
Sorry, Abbie. I feel like at school. I have to interrupt. Keep interrupting. I feel so bad.
Go ahead.
But I have to do it as you're talking. Because if I ask later, I can. What is Tubi?
Tubi is a streaming platform.
Tubi.
Yeah, it's a streaming platform we have in the States. It's
Tubi.
Yeah, Tubi.
It's called Tubi. Now I know Mubi.
Yeah, Mubi is another one.
Tubi.
Two separate ones.
Okay, so you were saying, so Tubi.
So about 3 weeks before AFM happens, they put out an app. The app has the contact information of every single person and vendor attending AFM.
Yeah.
And the reason they do this is so you can reach out directly to every single vendor and get their contact information. And a lot of people don't know this, but what you should do is you should reach out to every single person you want to get a meeting with, and you should go, hi, my name is Abbie. I'm a co-founder of A2C Entertainment. I'm attending with these 5 projects. Give the logline synopsis, budget, everything you have available. Be like, we already have funding. We have distribution. We're in search of 500K seed funding. Some of it's soft money. Some of it's hard money. We have Series A investor, blah, blah, blah. We have Sydney Sweeney attached. Would you like a meeting on this day? Give them exact time, location. Then they can say yes, no. Never be like, we should get in touch. No. Be like, would you like a meeting on Tuesday at 11 a.m.? Then they're going to go, oh, our Tuesday's actually full. Can you do Wednesday? Boom, a meeting is locked in. Have your entire schedule figured out before you get there. Then once you get there, you can change things around. And then once they lock you in, be like, great. And then send them your phone number and be like, I will text you the morning of, I will be wearing this. And then literally every day that you're there, have your outfits coordinated, have your phone numbers on lock, have all your people, have all your locations. Like, treat it like you're so serious. Like, just everything just locked in, because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people there. So many things are going to get so confusing. But basically, that's what I would do. And I would try to get like 45 to 50 meetings. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
And of those 45 to 50 meetings, 5 of them will be useful. The rest of them will be completely useless. And every single meeting you go to, you should be like, oh my gosh, what are you guys doing later tonight? Like, which parties are you attending? And most people will be like, oh, I'm not doing blah, blah, blah. And 2 or 3 people will be like, oh, I'm going to this one. And you'll be like, oh, I didn't hear about it. I didn't hear about that one. Like, which one is that? And then you'll get invited to after parties.
Yeah.
Do that.
Okay. So what happened in the meeting?
In the meeting,
it can range. Yeah. So it depends on who you're talking to, but A lot of times what they're doing is just following up basically on the things that you've already sent them.
Yeah.
Because they get a million emails before AFM. We had a meeting
know.
with, we probably shouldn't say who we had a meeting with, but we had a meeting with a company. And part of that meeting was before, to set it up, we sent them all 5 of our projects with the log lines and synopsis. And they said, those are all great. We're only interested really in talking about these 2.
Yeah.
We said, awesome,
Okay.
cool. Let's set up a meeting. So we set up the meeting for, I think it was our second day of AFM. We pull up, go to the meeting. They have a house on the beach that they're renting for the event. They invite us in. I think we got 15 or 20 minutes with their head of acquisitions.
They tell you before
Yeah.
how much time you have?
No, but
Okay.
that's about how much time you're going to get. And if,
Okay.
if it's a really good meeting, you'll stay there for longer. But
Or you might get another meeting.
or you might get a
It
second
might
meeting.
be like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, let's do lunch tomorrow. Love
Right.
you guys. Or like, we're going to this after party. Let's get drinks. Like, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and so in that
Okay.
meeting, they'll basically look over their notes because they'll have forgotten who you are and what your projects are because they're just seeing a million projects that weekend. And they go, oh, okay, I remember this. Like, tell me more about the project, right? And then you more or less have to pitch them on the whole project in the meeting room with them, right? It's very traditional that way, kind of old school Hollywood type thing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And then you'll kind of give them the pitch. You'll talk about it. They'll say, wow, that sounds interesting. I could see us doing it in this way. It's kind of similar to this other movie that we made a couple years ago. Okay.
Well, and that's what you want to say. That's
Right.
the first thing you want to say. You want to be like, hey, just to remind you guys, like, we're these people and we're doing this project. It's similar to this thing on your slate. You want to be like very, very particular that you've done the research about their studio and why why it should be their thing. Like every meeting you should go into, it's why it should be their thing and only their thing.
Yeah.
And that should be clear because it does get confusing and difficult. But like for all your meeting prep in the morning, when you go into like before the day starts, you should be like, okay, for the 10 meetings we have today, we're going into this meeting with Neon. And the reason that Neon should make our movie should be like, okay, it's a coming of age drama and it's about a stripper. It's really similar to the movie you guys did last year, Honora. And we love Sean Baker. We're such huge Sean Baker fans. And we think you guys are the people to do it because we love your PR campaigns and like we love what you guys did with Long Legs. And you can come in with something like that. And they're gonna be like, oh yeah, like we really get that. Just
Yeah.
make it feel like every person you talk to, their brand is your brand. And like just
Yeah,
show
yeah,
them
you
that
can
you're a
you can
good
relate.
student.
You know, yeah, you know
You're a
that's
very
you know
good
you know
student.
them.
Right.
You know
Yes.
them.
Well,
No,
and
I
you-
understand that. And what would be the suggestion, guys, in case? Oh, sorry, Connor.
I was going to say, you want them to see your movie, basically.
Which it seems obvious, but it's like people don't do that. They mess that up. Like
Right.
people go into it and be like, oh, and then they just talk about their movie. It's like, don't talk about your movie. Talk about their company and talk about why their company should do your movie
Right.
because they want to hear about their company. Because like when a person comes and talks to us and says why A2C should do their movie, I'm like, okay, I like that.
Hey.
That's like the company that we're considering working with right now for one of our features. What really sold me on it was when they like big picture explained why they should make our film. And I was like, that's no one had ever done that before to
Right.
me. It was like, why are they the right people to make my screenplay? And I was like, that's amazing. Because like so many people will read a script and be like, this is so good. Like it's going to make so much money. Like it's so beautiful. I just loved it so much. But it's like, no, why are we the studio that should make your film? That's a different way to approach.
As you're talking about this, I have a funny story. I was doing fundraising for a specific production, and so I ended up having an appointment with this law firm, and clearly, you know, like they could fund the whole project. And I remember I walked in, and so the guy, I guess, because I was from Italy, then he started talking about his trip to Europe, and then he ended up talking about the trip to Africa. And man, for 45 minutes, we had this long conversation about everything about the movie. Antelopes, Italy in the southern part, because when I go there, like, and now I'm not saying that every time it works like that. It was the only time that it worked like that, but it was crazy because at the end of the meeting, he says, now I need to go because I have another meeting, but yes, I will fund the project. Like, now this is an extreme, okay, like I don't think that's probably true for when you go into those meetings in AFM, but it's just funny to me to see how like, yeah, if like when you go so self-focused on your own thing, I mean, it seems like even especially in this situation, you kind of want to do some research or able to relate and get to know them a little bit
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you think the key is your movie, not necessarily the company that it potentially will buy your movie.
Right. Well,
Right.
I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I think companies don't invest in movies; they invest in filmmakers. Ultimately, they want.
You think is that still true?
I do think that's still true. I think there are obviously companies that only invest in films, for sure. The company that makes Sharknado and the Winnie the Pooh monster horror, yeah, sure. But I think there's like most of the companies nowadays are still mostly interested in the filmmaker. I think it's less about the project and more about the person.
I know it's true. I agree.
I think
I
it
agree.
is. I think it is like your story. I think that is how people still want to interact. I think they want to trust the person. They want to get to know them as a person first.
Yeah. And then at that point, it's like I don't necessarily know all the details about the movie. I know a little bit more of you in the sense that I got from you, which is crazy to me. I remember I was hired for a job, and then I always sometimes I question, not always, why did you hire me? Like, why did you want me and not somebody else? You have, especially in America, you have so many Americans. Why do you hire an Italian to do this? And the first time that I heard this, I was shocked because they said for your social skill, and I'm like, the social skill. I was like, what is that? I had to literally Google, and like I did with Tubi. Tubi, I don't know what is social skill. What is social skill? What you're talking about? And then I realized, I was like, man, they hired me because I don't know. For me, it was kind of strange. You can have a conversation, or I don't know, like you can engage with people, or you can, I don't know. But no, and it's crazy. It's crazy to see how much that, but you won't believe it. The more I do this podcast, if there is one thing that is consistent in every episode, is that I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. It means that AI hasn't, didn't take over yet. And it's still, there is a human aspect in the relationship that we have, in the building networking, and even feeling that there's a connection with somebody, and there is trust, there is appreciation, there is respect, there is loyalty, there is like all these things that, grow in that relation. Man, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see that. Because you were talking about the second biggest film market in the world, right, Abbie? You said the second? Yeah. That still you have that dynamic. It's precious.
I agree.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do your job. But sorry, I had one question though. Let's go back to the meeting. So you are in the meeting at that point, right? You said that you talk about your movie because I assume you're talking about a project that potentially you would want them to fund and to go film. How should it change if you have an hour and a half movie ready, a documentary? Like in my case, should I just show the trailer?
Yeah, you're talking to distribution people. So ostensibly you already sent them the trailer. And then you're just talking to them about distribution options and what that would look like. And like, depending on how interested they are, it could be a negotiation. So that would be a different conversation.
Yeah. And especially now, distribution conversations have changed a lot. It used to be one company handled all the distribution for a project. And now I think it's becoming more commonplace to do kind of piecemeal distribution. You'll work with one company for North America. You'll work with one company for one part of Europe. Yeah. That kind of thing. And
there's a lot of small players at AFM too. So like you could also, because like we haven't done distribution at AFM, but I do know people who like you could stack your meetings where you're doing big distributors for the first couple of days, and if none of those work out, you could go to your smaller distributors, and so like go kind of methodically like, well, if none of our big ones work out, we don't get the ones we're trying to get, then we'll like settle for a smaller deal. So that could be another way that you could approach it.
That's cool. Yeah. Any bad experience with you guys at AFM? And not only at AFM, I would say in general with that kind of thing. Because I hear so many stories sometimes I don't even know if they're true or not.
We met some slime me people for sure.
Oh yeah, no, there's some dirt bags. Yeah.
So you agree on that? Like you need to also watch out for the bad deals.
You have to. You really have to be careful. There was one particular meeting Abbie and I both remember of a particular slime ball that his whole thing was that you pay him $20,000 and then he represents your project at other markets around the world. And in the middle of the meeting, we both just kind of looked at each other like, okay. And then we got out of that meeting because we had another meeting, I think 10 minutes later. And later that day, we heard that guy giving the same exact spiel to another woman. Like, but the thing is, she was buying it. Like, she was kind of on the fence about it, you know? And we almost wanted to turn around and be like, hey, don't do that.
Like he's a dirtbag.
You know? So, yeah, there's definitely people you got to be worried about, for sure.
For sure.
But they're usually pretty obvious. So.
Okay. Guys, there is so much that I would like to talk more about it. As always, every time I do one episode, I feel like, but this was really helpful.
No, this is great.
Yeah, this was fantastic.
And honestly, I just want to take you out for dinner. I feel like I feel it with all myself. I'm like, I have to take these two guys for dinner somewhere in LA.
That sounds great.
Guys, again, thank you so much.
Alrighty.
If short films don't bring any money, well, how do you make a living as a filmmaker? That's the question that I asked the guys from A2C Entertainment. You can find the answer on howwefilm.com. Go to the exclusive content page. You just need to sign up. It's for free. You don't need to pay. And I hope that information is going to help you somehow. At the same time, guys, I just want to remind you that if you have any specific questions regarding documentary production, then there's another section on howwefilm.com. You can go there, shoot me a message, or you can shoot me a message even on the social media platform, really. And I'll do my best to create a video with the answer. I don't always know the answer, but what I usually do, I go and talk with other professionals and trying to come up with something for you. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.